This video is sponsored by NordVPN. More on that later.
So recently I built these real-life Pokeballs, but I got the same comment multiple times. Can you make a real Pokemon? Yes. Yes, I can.
Hold on. Where's all this confidence coming from? You've never done anything like this before. I mean, now you have, so I'll let it slide.
Say hi.
Let's just get into the build requirements. Number 1 on my list is realism. I want this to be a hybrid of the anime and Detective Pikachu, but since this is my first attempt at an animatronic, I don't think I can expect to reach Detective Pikachu levels, but I really love some of the floppy motion his ears and tail get. Number 2 is that Pikachu has to have powers in some form. I did look into putting a taser or something inside of him, but I couldn't find a way to make it fit and most importantly make it safe, so I went with LEDs. With those two things decided, I began the modeling process. I started the base model off with the iMech files by Will Cogley and the neck mech files by Hendrix Workshop, because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel if it already works. The plan for this build was to use 21 servos to motorize the neck, eyes, eyebrows, ears, jaw, arms, and tail. This number does change eventually to 25. I had to custom model in mounts for all these pieces that fit into a pretty minimal body shell that gave me the basic shapes of Pikachu. Once I felt everything was ready enough for a first go, I loaded up my printers. I printed a lot of the mechanical parts and pieces that needed to be strung in Polymaker PLA Max on my Prusa Mark IV and the shells in yellow Polymaker PLA Pro. The yellow was to make sure if you saw underneath his skin for any reason, it would blend in with the fur.
Okay. We have everything printed. The rest of Pikachu's over there. So now I think we're gonna work on the eyes first, just because it's probably the easiest part of the entire thing, just because I've done it before and I trust Will Cogley's file. What?
I'm laughing at his skull just sitting there.
I mean, it's gonna look even worse when he has these like soulless placeholder eyes in there.
I breezed through the iMech. If you want to see more detailed stuff about these files, check out Will Cogley's channel and website. I modified the eye mount a bit so that I could attach braces that helped me mount all of this to the head shell. I also designed an upper mount that held the 2 servos that control the eyebrows and the 4 servos that control the ears. I eventually realized that trying to fit all of this into the head shell without having the head shell split in 2 was very hard.
Yeah, so when I designed this, I didn't really think, as I usually don't. Test fitted his head components. I had to cut off his cheeks.
Mutilating Pikachu.
It's decapitated head. Let's swap to manual.
Oh my god, he's looking at me.
I hooked up a servo tester just to check the eye movement for any weird conflicts, and then I uploaded my old Glamrock Bonnie code to begin the coding process. The eyes were fairly simple to modify from here. I spent a few days adding a saccadic movement and focused on making sure there was no lizard blink.
I mean, that one blinks a little faster still.
So now that we have the eyes all working, we're gonna start working on this upper part of the head. So like the eyebrows, the ears, and then we're gonna slowly make our way down to the jaw. So let's just nail down the eyebrows first.
Getting the eyebrows programmed was super quick and easy. It's literally just 2 servos that move up and down. But I discovered that I had to cut the shell open to test further, so I did that. The eyebrows now in a working state, I pushed forward to the ears. These little discs were mounted to the inner head mech with ball joints, and 2 servos per ear pushed and pulled the ears into the given direction.
He's got kind of like alien looking antennas, which they're kind of cute. Reminds me of, what's that show? The Teletubbies.
I used ball joint servo push rods to achieve this and allow the disc to flex when pressure and attention is applied. Getting the length of the rod correct was a little tricky, but I think it turned out okay.
This little block right here is the neck. This neck piece is gonna get mounted to the head. This is what mounts to like the neck servos. It kind of turns it, looks up and down, stuff like that. This piece right here, this will hold a servo inside of it that mounts to these points in the neck plate. So it's gonna sit something like this. And that will be the mechanism that controls the jaw while also mounting to the neck.
Finishing off the inner head mech, I hooked up the jaw, which once again was fairly simple as it was just 1 servo. The trickiest part about this was getting the mouth movement to look realistic and like he was actually saying words.
Oh my goodness, this is a very heavy head.
Oh wow.
So now that we have this, we're gonna work on making ears. Basically, I modeled them into the Blender file, but I want these to be squishy because if this is gonna be on my shoulder, the last thing I want is like hard plastic ears like conking me in the head. And also it'll do damage to the servos. But the idea is that they're gonna sit like right here. Yeah, there'll be there's gonna be a spring here so that hopefully like when the ears move, the ears kind of flop around.
You have foam on your nose.
Do I? Move the ears, please.
Ooh! Ooh!
I think that looks cool.
It does.
And the fur will kind of balance things out, so like it'll be less shaky.
And then I got the bold idea to try to paint his eyes a little bit so he doesn't look so terrifying.
It might just help a little bit in terms of like how he looks.
Oh, that's a little scary.
It's not done.
I started out with Sharpie, but I decided it wasn't enough and I wanted to try just enough so you could see the vision.
I'm just trying to make this look good.
I think he looks pretty cute.
It's kind of scary, but it's actually kind of cool. So this is the neck system right here. This is a joint right here in the neck that basically allows it to rotate any direction. 2 servos down here that will control the like pitch, so like angle of the head, as well as a servo that's going to be mounted down here that will control rotation. This will get mounted to this bottom plate right here, and then this rounded edge gets mounted to his butt. He's big. He's kind of big. I mean, not like huge, but my child. So we're gonna power him on, and I have a code already uploaded. I think the only thing that could go wrong is like these are gonna lift way up, so his head's gonna go like this at first. Like you
Spirit of the Lord takes over.
like you power him on, and he's like, oh. Otherwise, let's just see what happens. I'm gonna hold his base so he doesn't fly, because I can see him like flinging his head up and he just goes straight backwards.
Possessed by the
Oh, okay, power off.
He's so scary. He's tweaking out.
He's flinging his head. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Stop. So this literally took me like 3 days to figure out how to get this to smooth out. But I think he's looking really promising now. So he's got nice vertical and horizontal movement. It's all completely randomized. Again, this is the idle movements, but he's looking promising. It's nice looking.
The arms were one of the hardest parts of this build. My initial design was pretty restrictive and didn't allow them to raise enough, and they sat way too far out on the body. I redesigned these a few times.
So I have to redesign these arms. They work. They work the way they're intended to. However, there's an issue with the arm itself, which means we really can only get it to this point, which is not far enough forward. I want the arms to almost come across this body.
While I waited for the arm redesign to print, I started cutting the tail out based on my model. This was also out of upholstery foam to keep weight down and keep the tail nice and floppy.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he looks so cool having a tail placeholder. We can see how rigid it is first, and if it needs some kind of rod, we can...
It looks like it'll stand up, but like I'm worried about the fur. Yep.
Yeah.
That. I said yup.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks perfect.
That looks so good.
I think we need to find a way to get a core up to like this point. So this is more solid, but not like super solid, not like 3D printed, you know?
I lined the inside with armature wire, which allows me to shape it however I want, and it gave it some good structure. Then I hooked up the final servo, the tail servo, and gave it a run.
Move your tail. It's not voice activated. That was coincidence, I swear.
Now we just had to deal with the arm issue, which wasn't over yet.
So this is the updated arm system. Now you can see there's a lot of joints. The arms are much longer. The hands are bigger. Everything's just better. So it rotates here, but it also is controlled by a servo on the inside that allows us to bend these arms a lot. And then also you can rotate this hand piece so that the hand will sit. Hold on, I can't do this with one hand. The hand will be able to face the correct direction. And now we're gonna try to program this whole thing. I might be cutting this part out just for a little bit more range of movement, but we will see.
And still, the arm issue wasn't solved until...
Redesign the arms again. What happened was these mounts right here, instead of facing down like this, they faced outward, and they basically made his shoulders stick out really freaking far. He looked like he had human shoulders. It looked like he was like beefy, and it looked wrong. I basically flipped the direction, mounted them on like this, and so now he's got a much slimmer profile. His arms can kind of naturally rest in that downward position that he has. They have like a pretty good range of motion when there's not cords, you know, restricting everything. but he can, you know, he can touch his head even if he wants to, which is kind of cool.
Now let's shift over to sound effects.
Our main focus for the sound effects is we're gonna have like different categories. So I have a quick little list of custom phrases that I'm going to program in for the voice recognition module, but there's going to be corresponding like Pika or Pikachu like voice lines to respond with them.
Now that I've had some experience with the DF Player Mini after my Pokeball builds, I knew exactly how to edit these voice lines so that they work with the module. I quickly edited up some audios, put them on my micro SD, and popped them into the DF Player for a test. Then I synced it up with the pre-programmed mouth movement.
So now we're gonna make him even more alive. This is a voice recognition module. This is the DF Robot Gravity voice recognition module. And so we're gonna hook this up. It allows you to program in like 17 custom phrases. So I'm gonna change the wake word to Pikachu, so he'll hear me every time I talk to him. And then 17 different commands will tell him to do different things. So for example, I'll be like, Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. And he'll be like, Rah!
Voice recognition assistant.
It's speaking.
It's scary. So I think it'll tell me what to do.
Oh.
Did you say none? None.
Nan.
What is it, robot? Hello, robot.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh my god. It's like, yeah? What do you want?
Is there a manual? Pikachu,
Yes, I'm here.
park a car.
Done.
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 After messing with the voice module for a bit, I shifted gears over to the eyes. I printed 2 sets of eyes, one that was missing the iris and one that wasn't. The full eye was used to create a mold that I would then dunk the painted half eyes into, hopefully creating an iris depth effect. I've never worked with molding and casting before, so this was a whole new experience I knew nothing about.
I'll do a clip of the eyes too. So this could be the final moments.
After the mold was set up, I dunked my painted eyeballs in the resin and I let them sit for 2 days. Then I shifted back to the electronics while I waited.
Voice recognition assistant.
That'll be fixed later. Pikachu,
Yes, I'm here.
Team Rocket.
Okay, got it.
I'm thinking 4 LEDs per cheek.
Once I confirmed the voice recognition module worked well with the animation sequences and setup I had going on, I moved to the LEDs. These would be lined under his fur to create the lightning effect. They were quick to wire up and program, and then I did some minor cable management because things were messy.
Just woke up. It's been about 36 hours since I poured this, so let's just pull it out and see what happens. Wait, it actually worked. Holy crap.
Now, unfortunately, I did think these worked initially, but after wet sanding and polishing, I did notice a very large bubble in the center of both eyes, followed by many smaller bubbles. This was pretty disappointing, and honestly, for the sake of moving the build along, I accepted it and just moved on. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't pretty either. I just knew that I had bigger fish to fry than getting hung up on this one issue. I stippled some paint onto the eyelids that matched my yellow dyes for the fur. I didn't want to deal with putting fur on them, so this did the trick. Then I got ready for a full test fitting with the body together.
So instead of having this full one, really hard to install stuff in, I split it in half. And I also cut these armholes out so they're nice and neat.
I'm making Nick do cable management
This is a nightmare.
because I am overwhelmed.
We'll get it all sorted out though.
Oh, he's
my
so
gosh.
cute. You're my son.
Oh my god.
We have determined that he is too skinny. His body is very, very thin.
His teardrop right here is a little skinny.
And we're also deciding this because look at all his His guts are sticking out.
Yeah.
There is like no room for anything. So we're gonna expand about an inch, give him a little bit more booty.
Wow. Oh my god.
While he was too skinny, he did seem to work well altogether, and I was fairly satisfied with his animations. The voice recognition was spotty though, and I couldn't get the LEDs to run with the animation. I suspected a power and memory issue, but a win is a win, and I kept trucking on with the progress I was making.
Now I just need to improve the lightning effect so he can protect himself against Team Rocket. Wait a second. Are you worried about your data being stolen online? Let me tell you about today's sponsor, NordVPN. Making sure that my personal information and data is protected online is very, very important to me. As someone who has been hacked in the past due to phishing and malware, using NordVPN features like Threat Protection Pro and the Dark Web Monitor helps me feel way more secure and sends the bad guys running. But not only does NordVPN protect your info, it allows you to get access to geo-restricted content or access that same content you're used to while you're away.
My personal favorite part about this feature is that I can watch my favorite shows regardless of where I am in the world. All I have to do is just change my VPN location, and then I'm free to watch whatever I'm in the mood for.
And with features like MeshNet, you can transfer to and connect to other devices you may have, completely remote and totally secure. The best part is that one account covers 6 devices. So get your 2-year plan and get 4 months completely free with my link below, nordvpn.com/Kira. It's completely risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee, and with 24/7 live customer support, you really can't go wrong. Again, that's nordvpn.com/Kiera. Let's get back to the video.
I decided to take a break from programming and make patterns for the fur.
He's like screaming underneath there. He looks like he's in a body cast. Glass, bones, and paper skin.
We wrapped Pikachu in saran wrap to protect him and also aid in the removal process, and then covered him in tape. After he was fully coated, I drew on where I would cut for each piece of his body, creating a template for the fur. I ended up mirroring this along the center, and I realized too late it wasn't necessary to tape the entire body. Oops. I then transferred these tape templates to paper so they were less messy, and this is where things went horribly wrong. Like, I was ready to throw in the towel at this point.
I just spent like 2-3 weeks programming and animating this thing so, you know, it could look like realistic. First of all, kind of looks like crap. Second of all, I found a completely free animation program for animatronics called BotTango, and it was like effortless. It like literally you just make keyframes and animate it. You upload a 3D model and you create joints and servos, and then you animate those, and you've got an animation, and then you plug it into your board, it does it. Like, all right, now I gotta clean this whole mess up. Once I do that, I'm gonna make sure it all works, test it again, and then we're gonna start sewing some fur.
Not only was the shift to using this program way smoother looking, it was necessary given that I started out using an Arduino Uno and upgraded to an ESP32. I was able to convert everything to the new board, and it ran things a lot more smoothly together. I did struggle a bit getting everything to work together all at once, just due to the amount of power 25 servos, LEDs, a speaker, a DF player, and a voice module need to run. It took me like 5 days of mind-melting troubleshooting. But then, the fur. It was horrible. So let me provide some context. I ordered this really nice stretch fur sample from Bigsy Fabrics before I even started this build, and I loved it. It's so soft, it's stretchy, it took dye well, and it shaved nice. So I ordered 2 yards of it. It was expensive. It did not work. He was a monster. Shaving it down did not help. He looked like a carpet.
Brother, what's that?
A little update. So we're both sick right now.
Yep.
For the last 2 days, I've been trying to sew the body for Pikachu, or everything for Pikachu. And I got that really nice 4-way stretch fur. It doesn't work. It's very, very, very bad. The fur is really nice. It's just, for this application, it's not the right choice. Ah, yay, stretch. Cool. This makes him look like he's like a freaking snowman. It was like, I literally was like, oh my god, I can't, like I have to stop, like I'm giving up. The last 2 days have been us just panicking, trying to find solutions to this. If you're local to Chicago, there's a fabric store named Vogue.
Yeah, it's Vogue's fabric in retail.
We picked up new fabric. So this is gonna be for like the face, and this is gonna be for the tail and the longer parts of the body. It shaves really, really nicely. We were trying to learn how to blend this, but like this would be like the neck seam. The one con is that it does not stretch like at all. So we have to kind of like redo how we're sewing things together. So there's like slack in like the neck, the ears, the jaw, the eyebrows. Yeah, so we're gonna recut everything again and figure this out.
So I sucked it up and I cut the fur all over again. This fur looked so much better in terms of how it fit his body and head, but the lack of stretch was definitely stressing me out. I was really wishing I'd known more about what this entailed before I started, because maybe I would have used the silicone route that every normal person uses for these. But alas, we pushed forward.
It's time to die.
Yeah.
I used alcohol inks to color all of his fur, and I created a bath I dunked and then blow dried the fur in. Sometimes it came out super patchy, which I eventually fixed by airbrushing it on to even things out, but I had wished that if I had to go the no stretch fur route like this, I would have just bought the fur in the correct colors. And I'm gonna stop talking so you can enjoy a small montage of me losing my mind while attaching fur to a robot. Enjoy! Overall, I'm fairly happy with what I was able to do with this build, especially because this was my first animatronic, first time working with fur, first time sewing, first time molding and casting. Jeez, this was a lot of firsts.
Use Thunderbolt.
I went into this project knowing almost nothing, but I was determined to at least try. While he didn't come out exactly how I wanted him to, I know a lot more now than I did before.
Good. Picture time.
I learned to overcome challenges that almost completely broke me down during this build, and I was brave enough to jump straight into a bunch of new skills. He's not perfect, but he's my son now, and I love him and what he represents for me as a maker.
Get in the Pokeball. Look out, Team Rocket. Hey, Pikachu. Get some rest.
He's a sleepy boy.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Hey, Pikachu. Wake up.
Now I'm going to use the get some rest command on myself, because that build just took everything out of me.
Bobbing like a baby.
For science, we have to measure him. He's sitting at about like 17 inches, which is actually kind of tall. It's more like 16 without the ears. So he's a little bit taller than like canon Pokédex height. Just based on like what I measured before I put him together, I think he's gonna be 9 pounds. He's like actually a baby. Like, that's like baby weight. Oh my god.
4.8, 4.9.
4.9? Why was I so off?
What did you say?
I thought I said 9 pounds.
Oh.
Am I stupid? Don't answer that. He's like 5 pounds.
I swear I measured, I weighed all of the servos and stuff like that, and I thought it was like 8 pounds. So, I mean, I'm happy with 5 pounds. It means less weight to carry on my shoulders. 5 pounds. You're really light. The heck? Be sure to go follow me on Instagram. I'm considering building him a shoulder saddle so I can take him to C2E2 in April, so keep an eye out for that over there. I'll also be at Open Sauce this July, so get tickets and come hang.
Use Thunderbolt.